As of right now, everything that you know about real estate marketing is changing. Today, I'm going to expose why you're not getting more results from your ads, emails, website, everything that you're doing for marketing. If you miss what I talk about today, you're going to have fewer transactions, just like the majority of real estate agents out there right now. So let's get into it. Hey everyone, Kevin Smolin with 2Q Lead Generation Strategies. If you're new to our channel, what we're all about is helping real estate agents market their business, generate more leads, and close more deals. So if that's what you're after, this is the place to be. Please consider subscribing. We'd love to have you here as part of our community. Before I get going on the video today, one resource I want to make you aware of is down below. You can download for free our 104 Video Ideas Guide. If you've ever struggled to know what videos to create, that is exactly why this guide exists. So go down to the description below, download it. These are time-tested, proven ideas that work. Okay, so let's get into the topic of today's video, which is why real estate marketing has changed forever, really from this point forward. It's changing the way that I'm doing my ads. It's changing the way that I'm doing my email marketing. It's changing the way that I'm really approaching any kind of marketing activity. And just to set the stage, I want to share with you this post I saw on LinkedIn a few days ago. So this post, it's talking about how first-time home buyer sales are tanking. So let's just read the post here. Over the last 2 decades, an average of 2.1 million Americans bought their first home every year. In 2024, that figure slipped to 1.1 million. High mortgage rate, well, let's stop right there and kind of unpack this a little bit. So to go from 2 decades worth of 2.1 million sales for first-time home buyers, and then last year, 2024, that slipped to 1.1 million, basically half. Isn't that incredible? See, so much of what you already know is represented in that statistic, that because home values have gone high and because mortgage rates are still high, home affordability is just a massive, massive problem. And it's a problem for a lot of people, but more specifically, the first-time buyers. So let's keep unpacking what they're talking about here. It says high mortgage rates are forcing more people to stay in rentals rather than buying, the Wall Street Journal reports. The number of renter households in the US sits at 46 million, a record. So more people renting now than ever before. And then going back, and that's not likely to change soon, per the journal, since only 6 million of those renters earn enough to afford the monthly mortgage payments on a median priced home. So let's break that down a little bit. Think about 46 million people renting, 46 million households, that is a record, higher than it's ever been. So there's this massive audience of people who are renting because that's all they can afford. Homeownership is not possible for them. And of this massive $46 million or 46 million household pool of people, it's saying that only 6 million out of 46 have the income sufficient to buy a home in a median priced area, right? A median priced home in a neighborhood. So that means 40 million can't afford it and 6 million can, right? That is almost a 7-to-1 ratio. 7 who can't afford it to 1 who can. See, the reason why understanding this completely changes everything about your marketing is because, especially, I'm going to use the first-time buyer example, especially with first-time buyers, there has never been a larger market of them and a greater disparity between the people who can and the people who can't afford homes. Okay. Now, it may sound like I'm preaching a lot of doom and gloom, but when understood properly through the right perspective that I'm going to share with you, it's actually a good thing, because the majority of your competition is going to look at these numbers, and that's the conclusion they're going to come to. They're going to say, well, home prices are high, interest rates suck, I'm just not going to be doing any transactions, I need to wait for the market to change. And if you want to have that mindset, that's really up to you. But that's not the mindset I want to leave you with from today. The lesson here is there's this disparity. And because of that, it changes the way you have to market. And here's what I mean by that. It used to be, and this is really the way that I've crafted all of my ads up to this point, but now all of that is changing, is we would craft ads we would go after a specific group of people, but we would make it as broad as possible to try and get the maximum number of leads at the lowest price possible. It was all about volume, and it was all about cost per lead. Get as many as we can, as cheap as we can. And we know that some of them can't afford a home and some of them can't. And there's going to be some sifting and some follow up. But when we have all those systems and processes in place, then you're just going to be doing transactions. And it was all about volume. Well, as you can tell from this article, it's not about volume anymore. See, if I go back to that, and we're talking about 46 million renters, 40 million of them can't afford a mortgage payment. 6 million have the income to do it. Now, they may have credit issues and there may be other issues there, but based on income, 6 million can afford it. Now, here's what that means. The way that marketing is changing is it's no longer about showing an offer of what is available. Hey, we've got these programs to be able to buy a home, no down payment, blah, 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 blah. It's no longer about that and just letting people fill out the lead form and follow up with as many people as possible. Because in today's market, I see agents that are generating those kind of leads where it's just about volume. And because of this stat, the majority of them can't afford it. So the truth is they're wasting all their time generating all of these leads that have no capacity to be able to move forward. See, it's hard to be able to get people an increase in income, especially where most people's wages haven't offered, their employment hasn't offered an increase in pay. They don't have bonuses, right? Their income has just been at a similar level for a long time. That means getting an increase in pay to be able to afford a home, it's highly unlikely for the majority of those people. It's easier to take someone who has the income, and if there's credit issues, then let's resolve the credit issues, but getting them in a position where they can buy, right? It's a lot easier to fix credit than it is to fix income. And so the concept here, and this is what's changing everything, is I'm now adapting all of my marketing to cater to, in this case, the 6 million. Right? I want to have everything, I want to have language and concepts in the ad that completely repel the 40 million. Right? So here's what that sounds and looks like. We would put language in the ad that says something like, must have income of blank, must have credit of blank. I have clients who are doing grant ads. And so in the ad itself, we put these are first come, first serve, and funds tend to go quickly. Why? Well, number one, it does give them some immediacy, some scarcity, a reason to jump on it now. But between the income, between the credit, between the scarcity of first come, first serve on these funds, I want to repel the 40 million. So that when they see that there's certain qualifications that they have to meet, I want them to say, I don't qualify, and then I'm not wasting their time and they're not wasting my time, right, as an agent. This is the whole concept that has to change with your marketing. The good news is 6 million can afford it. And sure, there's lower transactions than there's ever been in 2 decades. However, when your marketing is dialed into the 6 million, you still get results. There are still people buying. That's the message I want you to get from this video. There are still first-time buyers buying. Are there fewer of them? Yes. And all that means is that's all the more reason for you to get focused and dialed in on your marketing. We want your offer, your ad, your email, whatever it is that you're doing, we want it to be so repulsive to the 40 million that they just say, I can't do that, that's not me. And so inclusive of the 6 million that they're like, yeah, I fit that mold. We can probably make this work. And that is really the biggest shift that needs to happen with marketing. As we've started doing this, we're seeing a tremendous response in getting the right people. See, I used to talk a ton about targeting with Facebook ads. And targeting is still important to get in front of the right 46 million, but it's the language in the ad that's going to exclude the majority of that 40 million who can't move forward, right? Again, that's the concept. So you want to be doing this with all of your marketing. Get it dialed in, get it focused on that one, the 6 million in this case, so that it's super attractive to them and absolutely repulsive to everyone else. Saves their time, saves your time, and make sure that the majority of the time that you're spending is with people who possibly can make it work. That is the key to succeeding in today's market. Now, it's not just applicable to first-time buyers, right? The concept is the same with sellers. There are so many people out there who have a loan, an existing mortgage on their property that they got, when rates were incredibly low, 2.5, 2.75, 3%. And so for them to be able to sell and go buy a home at today's market rates, it's just such a downgrade because it's going to cost them so much more money to buy. See, there's a lot of people in that category who, for all intents and purposes, they're not really your customer either, the sellers. Even though, yes, we'd love a listing, but the majority of them in today's market for what they already have, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. So who's the smaller group in that pool of people with the sellers? Well, it's the people who are selling based on life circumstances, because whether they have a low rate or not on their existing mortgage, they have to sell. Divorce, foreclosure, job transfer, death in the family. And there's 1,000,001 reasons as to why people are required to move based on life circumstances. So again, your marketing needs to be dialed in to those people, because they're the ones who are still going to be moving forward regardless of home prices and regardless of interest rates. Do you see why getting super dialed in and making your marketing repulsive to the wrong people is critical for success in today's market? It's because the pool of people who cannot use your services or who are not the ideal person to use your services, that pool of people is larger than it's ever been. Right? We've got 46 million people renting. That's a record. And so when you think about that, there's just so many people that can't move forward with what you're offering as a real estate agent. And that is the lesson for today's marketing to succeed in real estate. That's why this isn't really about Facebook ads, even though, yes, that's a huge part of what we do. It's an easy way to get our message out in front of people and to the right people. But whether it's email, whether it's Facebook ads, whether it's any form of marketing, this is what makes the big difference in today of what people are finding success with. It's no longer people are finding success with Facebook ads or with Instagram or with this or that. It's not that the tactics so much that is making people successful where they're marketing. It's more the strategy. And that's what we help a lot of people solve. So if that was helpful, take a split second, click the thumbs up button down below. We appreciate that support. That helps us more than you ever know. Also, if you would like help refining your ads and getting things to the point where you're getting great response and great results, that's what we do. Reach out to me. You can find the link down below to schedule an appointment to learn more about our services and how that can help you. Otherwise, that's it. Make it a great week. Keep crushing it with your real estate business. As always, if we can help, let us know, and we will catch you on the next video. Take care.